Let's bring in Bob Nightengale, covers the sport. What do you think of these proposals?
Well, I just don't see it happening, Dan. First of all, there's no way they're going to play in a plastic bubble in Arizona. It just doesn't make sense. You can't protect the safety of it, of all the players under one roof and everything else, staying in hotels. Some of those rule changes have been discussed, but I think they can happen at any time. I think even if we have a season with fans, later in the summer, I could see some of that taking effect.
But why are they putting this out here, Bob, then if you don't think that this is really possible? Why are they floating these ideas?
I think it was just floated like, okay, if we get the health thing worked out, if all of a sudden magically we have testing, we can test on the spot and get results. But there's no way in the world baseball is going to do this when the public doesn't even have it. Baseball would get crucified.
Just the logistics of everyone playing in Arizona. 30 teams in Arizona, and are they isolated from their families?
Yeah, which is a big drawback. So how many guys with families are going to say, okay, I'll see you later. I'm going to be gone for the next 4.5 months. Sorry, I know you're pregnant, but I'll miss the baby and things like that. And you're taking reduced pay. Hey, when there's no games without fans, these players aren't going to be paid 100%. They're going to have to take a big pay cut too, just like the owners are. So all kinds of problems.
What are the other options here, Bob?
Well, the big thing is kind of sit back and wait. I think they've talked about some radical stuff, Dan, where you almost feel like an NCAA tournament and not brackets. But, say you start the season in September, play through until Thanksgiving, kind of a very short regular season, and maybe just a wild type of NCAA, November Madness type thing for baseball. But they're looking to play some kind of games, get some of the revenue back, at least do something. But they're certainly not going to rush into this.
But you also have Scott Boras, which I understand why he's putting this out. Let's play baseball until after Christmas. How do people react to Okay, that's how they reacted. They laughed, which I said, no, that's crazy. But he's trying to get his people paid.
Right. And that's the thing, yeah. It's like, hey, he's got a big overhead. And, all these agents aren't getting paid either. The players got bills. Everybody wants to get their money, but that money is not going to come. It's certainly not going to come at 100%. The owners are saying the revenue just from the ballpark concessions, parking, and all that is about 35%. As explained to me, if you're New York Mets and you're playing games in Phoenix, how are you going to sell advertising rights at Citi Field and that sort of thing? So a lot of money just won't be coming in. And if you're a player, do you really want to take a huge pay cut and play in 110 degree heat in Arizona without your families going around, and you're not even allowed to go out because all the bars and restaurants are closed?
You're Buzzkill Bob today. I thought maybe I was promising hope on today's show.
Well, the thing is that they really want to get going. I mean, the union wants to get play, the owners want to play, and everybody else. But it's just like let's don't force feed this thing. Let's take some time. I don't know how all these other events are getting canceled, and baseball says, "Oh, we're the only sport that's going to have the magical cure and the testing and everything else." You already have government officials in Arizona popping off and saying, "Wait a minute, now we don't have these tests for our own people that live here, and we're going to give them for athletes that come from all around the world and give them special treatment."
What concerns me is these commissioners who keep putting out these timelines, and it's just. It's not dangerous, but it's false hope there where you're saying, hey, maybe if we have baseball in May and we have a 2-week spring training and then I thought Adam Silver did the right thing, the NBA commissioner. He said, look, I'm not going to give you any time frame the rest of this month. Let's reassess when we get to May. It feels like baseball is trying too hard to make this work. Instead of letting it come to them, they're trying to go after this, and you can't.
No, you can't. And I think, someone was that big, pep talk with Donald Trump the other day with all the commissioners. Okay, hey, I love sports. Let's do everything possible. We're behind you. Whatever you guys can do to help out, the entertainment business and all that. So I think part of it's from that. But I agree with you. I think Adam Silver was perfect when he said, don't even talk to me. We don't even know what's going on, until May, until then. So it's just way too much of a rush to say May. I mean, I don't see how that's possible.
And also how you're going to manage your pitching staff. If it's a 100-game season, let's just say it is. Are you going to be able to add more players to the roster? I think there's a lot of questions that are left to be answered. If we do play baseball, what's it look like with your roster? If we do these double headers, having the amount of pitchers, are you going to be able to add a couple of pitchers here? What are your thoughts on that?
I think they'll definitely add 3 guys, Dan. So instead of a 26-man roster, and it's 26 this year instead of the usual 25, go to 29, 30 maximum. But you're right. You're going to need more pitchers, just like we did in after the 94, 95 work stoppage, and do that. That's, I'm not sure. 7 innings, makes sense to help out pitchers. But, baseball is so big on the, history and record books and everything else. All of a sudden, we see all these complete games and no hitters. It's like, wait a minute now. You're changing everything. Yeah.
Who would be the overwhelming who would be the favorite to win it all this year if we do play baseball?
My pick before this all came about was the Dodgers over the Oakland A's. I think the Dodgers are loaded. I love that Mookie Betts trade. I think David Price going from the AL East to the Dodger stave and pitching in that division, ballpark. He could be a Cy Young guy again. So I thought they were the big-time favorites. And I will say this layoff, though, even though I thought I was going to crush the Houston Astros with everything that they go through on the road, when baseball comes back, I don't know how much, fans are going to be jumping all over the Astros. It's like, with all we've gone through, are we really going to boo these guys? Do we really care that much about baseball cheating in light of what's going on with the rest of the world? So I think it actually favors I think it's a break for the Astros because people aren't going to give them such a hard time. And now you get Justin Verlander should be healthy by the time this thing resets, if it does.
Good stuff, Bob. Hope you're safe, and we appreciate your time, even though you were a buzzkill today.
My pleasure as always. Great talking to you, Dan.
That's Bob Nightengale, USA Today baseball columnist.